Newsroom. Breaking this hour, we're learning that Israeli settler violence in the West Bank is continuing to escalate in a recent development. Palestinian farmer from Samu village near Hebron has alleged that his sheep farm was attacked by Israeli settlers earlier this week. According to his claims, tens of his sheep were killed and his property was also damaged, which included a vehicle parked on site. Additionally, the mayor of Samu has stressed that settler attacks have intensified since October 7th of 2023. With local residents experiencing the peak of violence lately, local residents have also added that the settlers fired tear gas into their homes, destroyed cameras, and torched haystacks before killing their livestock and emptying their water tanks. Let's listen into what they have said about this recent attack.
اللي صار عندي هين إنه يوم الاثنين 27/10 الساعة 1:15 حضر مجموعة من المستوطنين. أنا كنت أصلي في الظهر. حضر مجموعة من المستوطنين من مستوطنة سوسية للبيت بشكل يعني بغير سابق إنذار. طبوا تكسير في السيارة في أبواب المنزل. أما لحقتش أطلع من المزرعة وتسكرت على حالي. عندي زوجتي و4 أطفال، هذا أكبرهم عمره 7 سنوات. رشوا الغاز في جوا المنزل، وضربوا قنبتين غاز آخر إشي في جوا المنزل، كسروا النوافذ، في كاميرا كسروها، ودخلوا على الغنم هنا، قتلوا 10 روس من الغنم، وعلى بلات القش حرقوهن، وعلى تنك المي كبوه، ما خلوش يعني أي إشي يتحرك.
أنا وإخوتي أصحاب الأراضي هاي الموجودة هان اشتريناها شرية اللي هو المستوطن منعنا له من 7 أكتوبر المستوطنين إن ندخلها أو نزرعها نفلحها، وهي اليوم كل يوم بيجي برعى فيها. منعنا ندخلها نهائيا. هي وين السعان يعني الحين طلع منها، الحين برعى فيها ويعني حاط ايده عليها. منعنا نخبط فيها حتى مجرد ان نستخدمها بالرجل ندخل فيها. منعها المنطقة هاي كلها اللي احنا اشتريناها شري.
A formal complaint, however, has been lodged with the Israeli border police. Now we continue in war-torn Gaza City. The family of Ashraf Nafet Abu Salim, a 45-year-old displaced university professor, has found temporary refuge in the damaged former home of late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. The house, with once a symbol of Palestinian leadership, now stands in ruins. Amid widespread destruction across the enclave, Abu Salim has said that his home in northern Gaza was almost completely devastated during recent fighting, leaving his family with nowhere else to go. When he first arrived at Arafat's residence, it was full of debris, he recalled, but he has since tried to make it livable for his wife and children. Let's listen into his audio.
بيتي في الشمال ومناطقنا في الشمال لقيناها كانت مدمرة جدا. فيش أي معلم من معالم الحياة، فيش أي معلم من معالم إنك ترجع تبني البيت، لأنه كانت البنية التحتية مدمرة والأمراض منتشرة. كان البيت يعني مهدم مقصوف مدمر. فجيت على الحارة وجدت فيه كان يعني شباب في الحارة، فطلبت منهم الإذن. قلت لهم لو قعدت أنا وأسرتي في البيت في مجال، قالوا لي تقدر تعيش فيه مع التدمير ومع الدمار مش توكل على الله. فالمهم جبت العائلة عندي، قلت لهم ايش رايكم انه هذا البيت نقعد فيه مؤقتا لحديث ما نلاقي مكان يأوينا او مكان نستأجره. احنا من جيل الانتفاضة الأولى، يعني الجيل اللي تربى على يعني انه على الحجارة، اطفال الحجارة. وبالنسبة لنا الرئيس أبو عمار يعني هو قدوة ونموذج النضال الوطني الفلسطيني.
In Washington, the United States is preparing to welcome Syria's interim president, Ahmad al-Sharaa. Later this month, according to the U.S. envoy for Syria, Sharaa is set to travel to the U.S. in November to sign an agreement to join the international U.S.-led coalition against the Islamic State. Speaking on the sidelines of the Manama dialogue in Bahrain, the envoy, Tom Barak, has confirmed that Sharaa would indeed head to Washington, adding that he would hopefully sign on to the global coalition to defeat ISIS. The move marks a significant step in Syria's engagement with international efforts to combat ISIS, signaling potential coordination with US-led initiatives in the region. Now we move on to Asia. Chinese President Xi Jinping has stated that China stands ready to work with the Republic of Korea to ensure the steady and long-term development of their strategic cooperative partnership. During his talks with Rogue President Lee Jae-myung, Xi Jinping has stated that China said the ROK are important neighbors that cannot be moved away and cooperation partners that cannot be separated. Further expanding on this, he has said that their stance since the establishment of diplomatic relations 33 years ago. The two countries have transcended differences in social systems and ideologies, actively advancing exchanges and cooperation across the board, and achieved mutual success and common prosperity. Chinese president has also put forward a 4-point proposal for opening up new prospects for China-ROK relations. Here's what the proposal says. First, both sides must enhance strategic communication and consolidate the foundation of mutual trust. Second, both sides must deepen mutually beneficial cooperation and tighten the bond of interest. Third, she has called on two countries to strengthen the friendship between the two people and bringing their hearts closer together. Fourth, she has urged the two countries to strengthen multilateral cooperation and jointly promote peace and development. Lee, in response to this, has said that he warmly welcomed President Xi for his state visit to the ROK after 11 years, underscoring its great significance for ROK-China relations. Now we move on to our next news. China has announced that the city of Shenzhen will host the APEC Economic Leaders meeting in November next year. President Xi Jinping has made the announcement during the chairmanship handed over session of the 32nd APEC Economic Leaders Summit in Gyeongju, South Korea. She has stated that APEC remains the most important economic cooperation platform in the Asia-Pacific region and has played a central role in promoting growth and prosperity. Now, the 2026 summit will mark the third time China will be hosting the APEC Economic Leaders meeting. China has stated that it will use this event to promote cooperation in connectivity, digital economy, and artificial intelligence, all of which will be collectively aiming to boost regional development. Responding to this announcement, the leaders of participating economies have welcomed China's upcoming role as a host and expressed support for the country's vision to advance regional cooperation. The African Union has expressed regret over the loss of life during post-election protests in Tanzania, while also congratulating President Samia Suluhu Hassan on her recent victory. In a statement posted on Saturday on X, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, chair of the AU Secretariat, has said that the organization takes note of the results and congratulates Hassan for her win. Yusuf has stated that AU deeply regrets the loss of human life and offered condolences to the victims' families following violent demonstrations that erupted after the announcement of election results. This comes as President Hassan won the vote with 97.66%, though opposition groups and observers have alleged fraud and excessive force by security officials. The African Union has urged calm and dialogue to restore peace and stability in the country after days of unrest. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has been officially declared the winner of the national election, securing 97.66% of the vote. According to the electoral mission, voter turnout was reported at 87%. The observers noted that many polling stations appeared largely empty before the day turned violent with protests and clashes across several regions. accepting her winner's certificate in the capital, Dodoma. President Hassan has condemned the post-election unrest, calling the protests unacceptable and not in line with national unity. The opposition, however, alleges that hundreds were killed by security forces during demonstrations and accuses the government of suppressing dissent. Hassan, who first took office in 2021, the death of John Magufuli.
Pamoja na manufaa hayo au matukio hayo mazuri yaliyotokea ndani ya uchaguzi wetu, kuna matukio ya uvunjifu wa amani yaliyofanywa siku ya uchaguzi, lengo likiwa ni kuharibu au kuzuia uchaguzi usifanyike. Tunavishukuru sana vyombo vya ulinzi na usalama kwa kuhakikisha kwamba vurugu zilizotokea hazikuathiri au kusimamisha uchaguzi. Matukio yale yaliyofanywa maeneo hasa kwenye miji ya Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Mwanza na Mbeya na Songwe, kwa vyovyote vile hayakuwa yakiungwa mkono, hayakuwa yakiungwana na ya kizalendo. Mzalendo, ni imani yangu kwamba mimi na wenzangu wote tulioshiriki uchaguzi na Watanzania walio wengi tumesikitishwa sana na vitendo hivi, kwani havijengi misingi thabiti ya demokrasia nchini. Niwatake tusikubaliane na vitendo hivi na kwa pamoja tusimame kulilinda taifa.
Now we move on to Kenya. According to Kenyan authorities, at least 13 people have been killed in a landslide in Kenya's Rift Valley early Saturday morning. Following heavy rains, 19 people have been rescued, while some people are still missing, as per Elgeyo Marakwet County Office Commander Peter Mulinge. Kenya's Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen has stated that military and police helicopters have been deployed to assist with rescue efforts. The incident is the latest in the series of deadly landslides and floods in Kenya, which have claimed hundreds of lives in recent years. Scientists have warned that climate change is contributing to more frequent and extreme weather events in the region. Last year, a mudslide and flash floods in central Kenya killed 61 people. In neighboring Uganda, landslides have also claimed at least 13 lives this week, according to the Uganda Red Cross. Now moving on, the Nigerian government has vowed to keep fighting violent extremism. The government has stated that it hopes Washington would remain a close ally after President Donald Trump added the West African nation to a U.S. watch list over what he said were threats to Christianity. Trump has said that he was putting Nigeria, Africa's top oil producer and most populous country, on a countries of particular concern, a list of nations the U.S. finds have engaged in religious freedom violations, which also includes China, Myanmar, North Korea, Russia, and Pakistan. Trump also asked the U.S. House of Representatives Appropriations Committee to examine the issue and report back to him. A U.S. congressional subcommittee held a hearing on Christian killings in Nigeria earlier this year. Now we move on to our next news. Tens of thousands of Serbians gathered in Novi Sad on Saturday to mark the first anniversary of the railway station roof collapse that has killed 16 people in 2024. The crowd observes 16 minutes of silence at 11:52 a.m. local time, the exact time this tragedy struck, in memory of the victims. The ceremony, led largely by students, carried both a tone of mourning and protest. Demonstrators demanded accountability, noting that no one has yet been tried for the disaster. 13 people, including former construction minister Goran Vesic, were charged, but their cases remain pending in the court. The collapse at a newly renovated station has become a symbol of corruption and government negligence. in Serbia. A separate anti-corruption probe and an EU-backed investigation into potential misuse of funds are ongoing. Thousands of marchers traveled from across the country, some walking more than 100 kilometers to join what organizers called the largest memorial gathering since the tragedy. Let's listen into what the mourners gathered at the memorial have shared.
Na današnji dan su malo pomešana osjećanja. S jedne strane velika tuga, s druge strane radostan sam što ovoliko ljudi došlo i pokazalo, došlo da izjavi saučešće i došlo da pokaže da nisu zadovoljni sa režimom, sa vlašću, sa sistemom. Ja sam neki način malo i lično doživeo ovu tragediju. Dvoje dece mi tog dana je čekalo autobus.
Teško mi je prvo zato što godinu dana niko ništa nije uradio po tom pitanju, svi se prave mrtvi, a desila se tragedija, ovo je ubistvo. Ovo nije nesrećni.
Pri prilasku samom osetim veliku jezu i žalost. Prosto ja ne znam ko bi se drugačije ovog trenutka osjećao na neki drugi način. Ne znam šta god da se kaže, mislim da bi svaki komentar bio suvišen.
Veliki bol i velika tuga. Godinu dana prošlo. Niko odgovoran. Niko procesuiran. Ništa se ne dešava. Svaki studentski i upit dece i građana ove naše države naiđe na blokadu i naiđe na ćutanje ili na omalovažavanje.
Now we move on to Europe. Pope Leo has appointed St. John Henry Newman as co-patron of education and doctor of the Church. This is a title given to saints in recognition of their contributions to the theological research. St. John Henry is known for his writings on faith, and he became a cardinal in 1879 after converting to Catholicism from the Church of England. While appointing him, Pope Leo has stated that this appointment came after careful deliberation and consultation with bishops and Christian followers throughout the world. Let's in fact listen into what Pope Leo has said.
Nos vota plurimorum fratrum et episcopatum multorumque Christi fidelium totius orbis explentes del dicasterio de causis sanctorum consultum certa scientia ac matura deliberazione deque apostolice potestatis plenitudine sanctum Ioannem Agricum Lumen Ecclesiae Universalis Doctorem declaramus in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. In questa solennità di tutti i santi è una grande gioia iscrivere St. John Henry Newman fra i dottori della Chiesa e al tempo stesso, in occasione del Giubileo del mondo educativo, nominarlo copatrono insieme a San Tommaso d'Aquino di tutti i soggetti che partecipano al processo educativo.
In Cameroon, tensions remain high following President Paul Biya's controversial re-election. In the coastal city of Douala, families are mourning their loved ones who were killed in post-election violence. Among them is 45-year-old Achille Simo, a father of 5 who witnesses say that was shot by a soldier while visiting a local shop. Neighbors and family members described the moments leading up to his death, saying they were caught in the chaos that followed the disputed vote. Let's listen in.
C'est un capitaine de la gendarmerie, parce qu'il avait 2 barres, une étoile. Un capitaine de la gendarmerie qui lui a demandé de dégager la route. Il a demandé, faites votre travail. Le monsieur, le défunt qui soit demandé, faites votre travail, nous on ne vous dérange pas. Il avait le dos tourné, c'est d'où le capitaine a sorti l'arme et tiré sur lui à bout portant. Dès qu'il a tiré sur lui, la population, on a commencé à fuir pour un tour.
Un civil qui ne présente pas un danger pour une population qui n'a pas d'armes blanches. Son péché, ça a été de sortir, aller manger. Moi, je pense pas. Moi, je pense pas. J'aimerais bien qu'on nous dise ce qu'il a fait. Même l'assaillant qui a mis fin à ses jours, qui nous dise concrètement ce qu'il a fait. Ce qu'il a fait est assez mauvais, qui nous dise, on lui demande pardon. Parce que moi, jusqu'à présent, je n'arrive pas.
The incident has deepened fear among local residents who say the atmosphere has been tense since the results were announced. Let's listen in.
Depuis dimanche, on a aspiré le gaz depuis même la chambre. C'est traumatisant. Vivre avec un petit, moins d'1 heure comme ça, on te dit qu'il est décédé. Depuis, nous sommes traumatisés.
The unrest follows President Biya's re-election for an 8th term, extending his rule since 1982. Opposition leader Issa Chiruma Bakari, who claims to have won the vote, has called for demonstrations that have swept through several cities. Authorities have reported that at least 4 people were killed in Douala on Sunday, while the government has confirmed deaths nationwide without giving numbers. Now we move on to our next news. Ahead of the official opening ceremony of the Grand Egyptian Museum, Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has stated that the museum is the country's gift to the world. The sprawling gem, located next to the pyramids of Giza, was initially scheduled to open in 2012, but the launch was repeatedly pushed back due to cost overruns and political tumult. The 500,000 square meter edifice will house tens of thousands of artifacts, including what is billed as the complete collection of the treasures of the boy king Tutankhamun, many displaced for the first time. Let's in fact listen into what the Egyptian Prime Minister has said.
اليوم العظيم اللي إن شاء الله كلنا نحتفل بيه النهارده وهو افتتاحه، إنه هذا الصرح العالمي يقدم من مصر كهدية لكل العالم من دولة يعود تاريخها إلى أكثر من 7000 عام، دولة فيها مزيج من كل الحضارات اللي مرت على تاريخ البشرية وعلى تاريخ الإنسانية.
Now we move on to Asia. China's crewed spaceship successfully docked with the space station combination. The spaceship, atop a Long March 2F Korea rocket, blasted off at 11:44 Beijing time from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the northwest China. About 10 minutes after the launch, the Shenzhou 21 spaceship separated from the rocket and entered its designated orbit. The docking process took about 3.5 hours, setting a new record for the fastest rendezvous and docking between a Shenzhou spacecraft and the space station, as per the CMSA. The Shenzhou 21 crew consists of mission commander Zhang Lu, who was previously a member of the Shenzhou 15 mission, alongside flight engineer Wu Fei and payload specialist Zhang Hongzhang, who are each embarking on their first spaceflight mission. With that, it's a wrap on the newsroom. Keep watching for more news updates.